The blackness beyond Earth shimmered with motion. From orbit, the sky was filled with the silhouettes of alien ships, titanic vessels like floating cathedrals of steel and light, each one armed with power that could crack a moon in half. Humanity's defense fleet, far smaller, hung like silver insects before a storm. On every channel, alien voices called out warnings in languages made of static and thunder. The Galactic Council had arrived. Admiral Kira Holt stood on the bridge of the human flagship Resolute, staring at the main display. The alien formation surrounded Earth in a tightening ring. There were hundreds of them. Each represented a species that had sworn to preserve galactic order. And now they had come to pass judgment on one world. Her first officer spoke softly. "They're demanding planetary surrender, Admiral." "They say this is our final warning." Kira didn't answer. Her eyes tracked the pattern of alien ships. It wasn't a standard blockade. The formation was too deliberate, the movements too clean. They weren't preparing for a battle. They were performing a message. This was fear disguised as authority. A deep voice came from the comm station. Transmission incoming from the Council's command ship. "They want direct contact." Kira gave a sharp nod. "Put it through." The screen filled with a towering alien figure, skin of silver glass and eyes like stars. Behind him stood rows of representatives from dozens of species. The Galactic Council chamber had moved into orbit itself, broadcasting live to every system. "Humans of Earth," the alien said, voice echoing through translation drones. "You stand accused of creating a biological anomaly capable of destabilizing entire sectors. A young member of your kind, Lena Holt, was expelled from the Varelian Academy for acts that violate interstellar safety protocols. Her presence has triggered planetary-scale energy distortions. Explain this, or Earth will face containment." The bridge went silent. The Admiral's jaw tightened. Every officer watched her. "Containment," she repeated quietly. "You mean destruction?" The alien's eyes glowed brighter. "Your world is a death world. Your biology is violent. Your species has evolved among toxins, predators, and endless conflict. The Council cannot risk contagion. Humanity's survival instincts have become dangerous." Kira took a breath. "You misunderstand what makes us dangerous." The alien leaned forward. "Enlighten us." She stepped closer to the screen. "We don't fight to destroy. We fight to adapt. Every time your kind thought Earth was broken, we rebuilt. When storms drowned our cities, we learned to live under them. When hunger came, we turned dust into food. You call our world a death world, but that's only because you wouldn't last a day on it." A murmur spread through the Council ranks. The alien commander tilted his head. "You are proud of your chaos?" Kira smiled faintly. "I'm proud that we survived it." Before he could answer, alarms screamed across the Resolute's bridge. Energy readings spiked from the far side of the solar system. The sensors showed a burst of heat and radiation unlike anything on record. Then came the sound, deep and pulsing like a heartbeat through the stars. The alien ships began shifting formation.
"What is that?"
one voice demanded over the shared channel. Kira's sensor officer turned pale. "Admiral, the pulse, it's matching human biofrequency patterns." Kira froze. She knew what that meant. It wasn't an attack. It was her niece. The signal came again, 3 slow beats like breathing. Then every light across the fleet dimmed. Alien power grids flickered. Shields went down. Weapon systems failed. The entire orbital ring of Council ships went dark for exactly 7 seconds. In those 7 seconds, Earth's sky blazed with fire. The oceans reflected the glow of the Council's fleets as if the planet itself were looking up at them. And in the command ship's feed, a faint image appeared. A single girl in a human academy uniform standing on a broken space station far away. Behind her, the stars rippled like waves of heat. Then the feed died. Kira stared at the screen, her reflection blending with static. When power returned, she said quietly, "Now you see why we asked you not to provoke her." The alien leader looked shaken. This cannot be a child." "No organism can generate energy at that scale. On your worlds, maybe not," Kira said. "But on Earth, our bodies learn to adapt to everything the planet threw at us. You see instability. I see evolution." He pointed an elongated finger toward her. "Your words will not protect your species. The Council will not allow uncontrolled anomalies to exist." The communication cut abruptly. Across the fleet, alien weapons powered up. 100 beams of light targeted the planet. The officers on the Resolute stood frozen. The whole world seemed to hold its breath. "Orders, Admiral?" her first officer asked. Kira didn't move for several seconds. Then she said, "Prepare countermeasures. No weapons, just shields. They expect us to fight. Let's disappoint them." The Resolute systems came alive. The ship's AI linked to Earth's defense grid, forming a lattice of synchronized energy shields. For a moment, it looked like a fragile bubble of light. Then the alien weapons fired. The sky became pure white. But when the light faded, the shield still held. Alien commanders shouted across their channels, confusion replacing arrogance. Their beams had burned against a wall of energy that bent itself like water, an adaptive shield that fed off their own power. Kira's science officer grinned shakily. "They just made our shield stronger." The Admiral exhaled slowly. "That's what happens when you test something built by humans. We don't build to win, we build to survive." Silence filled the bridge again. The alien fleet began to retreat to a safer distance, uncertain of what they faced. The Council's flagship remained orbiting like a watchful god. The alien leader's voice came once more, softer now. "Your species walks a dangerous path, Admiral Holt. Power born of fear is not strength. It is corruption." Kira's gaze didn't waver. "Fear doesn't drive us, hope does. You came here to contain us. You'll find that impossible," he paused. "You truly believe you can stand against the Council?" "I don't need to stand against you," she said. "I only need to stand long enough for her to return." The alien leader frowned. "Her?" But Kira didn't answer. The transmission cut again. From the observation deck, Earth glowed quietly below, blue and fragile. Yet the light that shimmered around it was not just reflection anymore. It pulsed faintly, like the same heartbeat that had silenced the fleets minutes before. The Council's ships remained in orbit, but none dared fire again. Kira watched as her officers worked in silence. She thought of Lena, the girl who had been expelled, the one they all feared. No one on Earth truly knew what had happened at that alien academy. The Council's reports were vague, full of contradictions. All she knew was that Lena had been different even as a child, curious, quiet, and too calm when facing danger. Now the galaxy whispered her name as if it were a storm. A soft vibration ran through the ship again. It wasn't weapons fire this time. It came from somewhere distant beyond communication range, deep in the void. The bridge lights dimmed, and for an instant Kira saw it, a flicker of red-gold light arcing across the stars, moving fast. She whispered under her breath, "She's not gone." The comms officer turned. "Admiral?" Kira straightened. "Send a message to all human colonies. Tell them to hold position. No one fires without my order. Message content?" Her voice was low but steady. "Tell them the Deathworld girl has awakened." Outside, the alien ships kept their distance, watching in silence as Earth's faint glow began to brighten. The humans didn't celebrate, didn't speak. They just stared at the stars, waiting. Because somewhere out there, in the cold dark between systems, a human girl had opened her eyes, and the galaxy would soon learn what it meant to challenge a species that had been forged in fire. The void above Mars burned red with enemy fire. Human warships darted through the chaos like sparks from a forge, weaving between plasma bolts and collapsing wreckage. The alien fleet, sleek and silent, moved in perfect formation, a wall of cold precision advancing on the last line of human defense. It was not a battle of equals. Humanity was outnumbered 12-1, but numbers had never saved anyone from desperation. On board the carrier. Vanguard, Commander Leon Hale stood at the command platform, surrounded by holographic displays of burning ships. His voice was calm, but his eyes moved fast. "Redirect power from engines to forward shields. Bring the decoy drones online and feed them our heat signatures." His tactical officer hesitated. "Sir, that'll leave us immobile if—" "Do it," Leon ordered. "If we move, they'll predict us. Let them think we're cornered." Outside, the Vanguard drifted, looking crippled and defenseless. The alien ships reformed, ready to finish it. Then all at once the drones ignited, hundreds of false targets blooming into existence. The alien targeting systems overloaded. Their formation faltered. "Now," Leon said. The Vanguard's cannons opened fire. The surrounding human frigates followed, releasing a web of kinetic slugs and energy torpedoes that laced through the confusion. Alien shields shattered. One by one, the massive ships cracked apart in silent bursts of light. The crew erupted into cheers, but Leon didn't smile. He knew this was only one battle in a war that had already shifted beyond their understanding. The Council fleets were growing more aggressive. They didn't want peace anymore. They wanted control, and all of it had started because of a single human girl. Far across the system, beyond communication range, the echoes of her name were spreading. The Council's transmission still hung heavy in every human command center. Contain the Deathworld anomaly at all costs. Leon turned toward the comms officer. Send word to Earth Command. Tell them the Council's fleets are moving again. And tell Admiral Holt. She was right, the officer frowned. About what, sir? Leon stared at the stars. They're afraid of us. In the deep void between worlds, far from the fleets and the noise of war, a small transport ship drifted in silence. Inside, Lena Holt sat alone in the dim glow of emergency lights. Her hands shook as she tried to repair the ship's power core. The circuits sparked against her skin, but the burns healed almost instantly. Her reflection in the glass showed faint veins of light crawling under her skin like rivers of fire. She didn't understand what she had become. It had been 2 days since the Academy expelled her. They said she was dangerous, unstable, a threat to every living thing aboard the station. But she hadn't meant to hurt anyone. She had only tried to stop the energy leak in the lab to save her classmates. And yet when she touched the containment field, the fire inside her had answered something it recognized. Now, the same energy hummed through her veins. She looked at the stars outside, cold, endless, indifferent. For the first time in her life, Lena felt small. Not because she was human, but because she was something the galaxy didn't have a word for. A warning light blinked on the console. Proximity alert. Lena frowned and checked the sensors. 6 contacts approaching fast. No identification codes, but the pattern was unmistakable. Council security ships. Her breath caught. They had found her. The comms crackled. Unidentified vessel. This is the Galactic Council Enforcement Wing. You are ordered to power down and prepare for retrieval. Any resistance will be met with termination. Lena closed her eyes. She didn't want to fight. She didn't want to hurt anyone again. But as the alien ship surrounded her, something inside her reacted. The air in the cabin shimmered. The walls vibrated softly like a heartbeat. The lead ship fired a disabling pulse. The transport rocked, lights dying. Then came another shot, this one aimed to destroy. Lena raised her hands instinctively. The blast struck an invisible field that flared gold for a moment, then vanished. The alien ships paused, confused. They fired again. This time, the fire didn't hit her, it spread from her. A wave of heat and energy bursting outward like a living storm. Every alien ship caught in the blast went dark. The silence that followed was heavier than the explosion itself. Lena stared at her trembling hands. No, please stop, she whispered. But the energy didn't listen. It pulsed again, reaching for more, seeking balance, seeking order. She forced herself to breathe. Control it, she told herself. You can control it. Slowly, the light around her dimmed. The ship's systems flickered back to life, barely functional. Her voice shook as she opened the comms. This is Lena Holt, and to anyone. Please don't come after me. I don't want to hurt anyone. There was no response. Back on Earth, the signal reached the Resolute moments later. Admiral Kira Holt listened to her niece's trembling voice in silence. Around her, the command bridge was tense and quiet. Is that live? The first officer asked. Yes, Kira said. She's alone, but the Council's already hunting her. Admiral, what do we do? Kira stared at the fading transmission. We find her before they do, and we make sure the galaxy understands what they're trying to kill. In the Galactic Council chamber orbiting a distant star, the alien delegates watched the same footage in horror. The room glowed blue with the reflection of the destroyed patrol ships. The Keltrix representative hissed, "It's begun. The human anomaly has entered the red state." The counselor of the Moroth Alliance turned toward the others. We warned them. They refused to contain her. Now she's destabilizing energy fields across 3 systems. Another delegate said, then we must contain Earth itself. The chamber erupted in argument. Some called for immediate military action. Others warned of triggering another war. The Council High Speaker silenced them with a gesture. Enough, we proceed with caution. Send observers. Find out if the human fire can spread. On a barren moon, a mining outpost flickered to life again. The workers stepped outside, staring at the sky as faint streams of golden light passed overhead. They didn't know it yet, But the phenomenon was Lena's energy traveling across the void, reaching out like a signal to every human mind that shared her blood. And somewhere deep in the neural networks of the human defense grid, the pulse was recognized. The AI systems began to respond, rewriting protocols on their own. Shields adjusted, weapons recalibrated. It was as if Earth itself was waking up. Admiral Kira received the data hours later. This pattern, she whispered. It's linking our defense grid to her frequency. Her chief scientist nodded slowly. She's syncing us. Our technology is responding to her instinctively. Admiral, if this continues, humanity won't need the Council's systems anymore. We'll have our own network, alive and self-adapting. Kira stared at the screen. For the first time, she felt something shift in her chest, something between awe and fear. She's not fighting them, she said. She's teaching us how to survive them. In the cold dark between stars, Lena's ship drifted onward. She was exhausted, her body aching from the strain. She didn't know where to go, only that she couldn't return home. Not yet. The fire inside her had grown quiet now, waiting. She closed her eyes, thinking of the academy, the laughter, the suspicion, the way they looked at her as if she were dangerous. They had been right. But danger wasn't what she wanted to be. She just wanted to belong. Outside, a distant flare rippled through space, lighting the horizon with gold. She didn't know it, but that light reached Earth within minutes. On every human station, across every colony, lights flickered once in unison, like a shared heartbeat. The galaxy thought she was a threat. But to the people of Earth, she had become something else entirely. A signal, a promise. And soon, the stars themselves would start to burn. The night side of Earth burned with silent auroras. High above the planet, thousands of alien ships surrounded the orbit like a glittering cage. Each one pointed inward, weapons primed, engines glowing with a pale green hue that painted the dark clouds below. They weren't there to invade, they were there to contain. Humanity had become a threat, and the Galactic Council wasn't taking chances anymore. On board the command deck of the human warship Aegis, General Mara Lorne stood at the front window, watching the alien blockade. Her officers waited for orders. The tension was heavy, almost alive. The aliens had given Earth one last warning. Surrender the Deathworld girl or lose everything. Transmission from the Council flagship, the comms officer said. They demand a response, Mara nodded. Put them through. The main display lit up, showing the alien commander, a tall being of translucent skin and black eyes that reflected the stars. His voice came through like thunder softened by silk. General Lorne, the Council gives you one final chance. Hand over the anomaly known as Lena Holt. If you refuse, the orbital containment grid will activate. Your planet will be sealed under permanent isolation. Mara didn't look impressed. You mean you'll turn Earth into a cage? Containment, the alien corrected. Your species has demonstrated an alarming capacity for biological escalation. You are not ready for the wider galaxy. The human general smiled slightly. Funny thing about humans, we were never ready for anything. We just survived anyway. The alien's eyes narrowed. Do not test us. We are not your enemies, but we will not allow chaos to spread. Mara's gaze hardened. Then you should have left us alone. Before he could respond, the Aegis shook violently. The sensors screamed. Alien energy signatures were forming across the orbital ring. Massive power spikes aimed at the planet below. They're charging the grid, an officer shouted. Time to impact? Mara asked. 30 seconds. She turned sharply. All ships deploy mirror nets. Dozens of human vessels broke formation, releasing swarms of reflective drones. Each one unfolded into a silver disk, spreading across orbit like metallic petals. The alien beams fired a moment later, columns of light meant to cripple Earth's atmosphere. But the beams didn't strike the planet, they bent. The mirror nets redirected the energy upward, scattering it harmlessly into space. The alien fleet erupted in confusion. Mara's voice was cold and steady. You wanted containment. Now you're trapped in your own ring. Her engineers had done the impossible. The mirror nets had turned the containment grid into a reflective cage, trapping the Council's own power between their ships. Within seconds, their shields began to overload. One by one, alien vessels blinked out as their systems shut down to prevent meltdown. The comms officer grinned. It's working, General. They're blind. Mara allowed herself one short breath of relief. Good, keep the shield stable. Earth holds the line. The alien commander's voice returned, distorted and desperate. "You think this trick saves you? The anomaly will destroy you from within. The Deathworld girl cannot be contained by your primitive machines." Mara didn't answer. Her gaze drifted to the holographic map showing Lena Holt's last known coordinates. She was far from Earth now, somewhere in the dark beyond the asteroid fields, alone. Meanwhile, out there in the void, Lena floated inside a broken cargo ship drifting between frozen rocks. The ship's power was dying, her oxygen low, but she didn't care. The fire inside her pulsed with its own rhythm, keeping her warm, keeping her alive. She could hear it, soft whispers at the edge of thought, like voices carried through light. When she looked at her reflection in the cracked viewport, her eyes glowed faintly gold. A sound broke through the silence, the hum of engines. She looked up and saw lights moving in the distance, ships, dozens of them, approaching fast. For a second, she thought it was a human rescue team. Then she saw the insignia, Council Enforcement Fleet. Her breath caught. They were still hunting her. The lead ship broadcast a message. "Lena Holt of Earth, you are to surrender immediately. This zone is under Council quarantine. Resistance will not be tolerated." She didn't move. They fired a tractor beam. The ship jolted, systems flickering. Energy crawled across the hull, restraining her like invisible chains. Lena closed her eyes. The fire inside her stirred, and the metal around her began to melt. One of the alien commanders shouted over the comms, "Contain her! Increase power!" But the more they tried, the stronger the reaction became. Flames erupted across space, invisible but real, bending the light itself. The tractor beam shattered. The Council ships began to lose control. Inside her small ship, Lena whispered, "I don't want this." The fire didn't listen. It grew brighter, more alive, until it filled the cabin with golden light. The energy pulsed outward in waves, sweeping through the asteroid belt. Every rock, every piece of metal began to vibrate as if the universe itself was trembling. Back on Earth, the readings reached the Aegis. The science officer's voice trembled. "General, we're detecting an energy spike from her position. It's off the scale. It's rewriting the field equations themselves." Mara frowned. "Rewriting what?" "The laws of matter, ma'am. It's changing the balance of atomic energy. If she loses control, she could ignite the entire region." Mara clenched her fists. "Patch me through to her, now." Static filled the bridge, then a faint voice came through. "Aunt Mara?" Mara froze. "Lena, listen to me. You have to calm down. The Council ships, just leave them. Don't fight." "I'm not fighting," Lena whispered. "I'm just scared." "Then let it go. Focus on me. Focus on home." The silence stretched. Then the lights on the Aegis dimmed as the sensors picked up a surge of heat. The asteroid field began to glow like molten glass. Alien ships disintegrated one by one, yet somehow the blast never touched the human frequencies. It avoided them, curving around them like a living flame that knew its origin. Mara watched the readings in disbelief. "She's controlling it," she said softly. "She's not destroying. She's choosing." Across the galaxy, the Council watched in horror. Their fleets were burning, their containment zones collapsing, and at the center of it all, a single human child. In the Council chamber, panic spread. "We must end this," one shouted. "She's rewriting the spectrum. This is impossible." The high speaker raised a trembling hand. "No, not impossible. Evolution." Lena floated in the golden light, tears streaming down her face. The energy slowly faded, leaving silence behind. Around her, only fragments of alien ships remained. Her vessel drifted freely again. She whispered to the stars, "I didn't mean to hurt anyone. I just wanted to be free." Then she looked at the distant light of Earth. Even from this far, she could feel its pulse, steady, warm, alive. For the first time, she realized she could hear it. Every human heartbeat, every spark of life connected through the same energy that now lived inside her. Back on the Aegis, Mara stared at the silent screen. "She's out there alone," she said quietly. "And the galaxy is terrified of her." Her first officer spoke softly. "Should we try to bring her home?" Mara shook her head. "Not yet. They'd follow. Let her learn what she is first." Outside, the alien blockade began to break apart. The mirror net still glowed faintly around Earth, protecting it. For the first time in centuries, humanity had outsmarted the entire Galactic Council, and they had done it not with numbers, not with strength, but with the same thing that had always defined them: adaptation. Far away, Lena's golden light dimmed into silence. She drifted into the dark, eyes closing as the stars flickered around her. But even in that quiet, the galaxy trembled, because somewhere deep in her heartbeat the fire still waited to rise again. The alien fleet covered half the sky. From orbit it looked like a wall of living metal stretching from horizon to horizon, each ship pulsing with faint blue light. They had arrived without warning, thousands of vessels from the Dominion, the oldest military force in the galaxy. Earth had broken one of their laws, and now they had come to make an example. The Dominion's ultimatum echoed through every human communication channel. Surrender your weapons and your colonies. Submit to Dominion control or face extinction. Onboard Earth's defense platform, Valiant. Commander Erin Hale stood in silence. Her crew waited for her word, eyes shifting nervously between her and the holographic projection of the alien fleet. They all knew what the Dominion could do. Entire planets had vanished under their bombardments. But Erin's voice, when it came, was calm and steady. Transmit to all ships, we are not surrendering. A murmur spread through the command deck. The comms officer hesitated. Ma'am, the Dominion has over 1,000 warships. We have 65, Erin nodded. I know the numbers. Send the message. Outside, the sky above Earth shimmered as hundreds of human ships began to rise through the clouds. They were smaller, older, patched together with human hands and stubborn hope. But they moved with purpose. Each one took its position above the planet, forming a defensive grid that had been planned years ago in secret. The Dominion commander appeared on the Valiant's screen. Tall, silver-skinned and crowned with tendrils that glowed like ice. You are brave, human, he said. Bravery is admirable. But bravery does not change physics. Erin looked directly at him. You're right. But creativity does. Before the alien could answer, she turned to her crew. Activate Horizon Protocol. All across orbit, human ships began deploying strange, shimmering devices. The Dominion scanners struggled to read them, each one a web of satellites connected by invisible threads of energy. The aliens laughed. What is this? Primitive traps? Erin smiled faintly. Something like that. The Dominion fleet opened fire. Thousands of plasma bolts streaked through the void, slamming into Earth's defensive grid. For a moment it looked like humanity had no chance. Explosions rippled across the orbit, ships broke apart, and alarms screamed across every console. Then something strange happened. The shattered fragments of human ships didn't fall. They stayed suspended in space, glowing faintly. The Horizon network activated, bending light and gravity itself. Every destroyed human vessel became a mirror, each fragment reflecting and redirecting the enemy's next shot. The Dominion's plasma fire turned back upon them. Within seconds, dozens of alien cruisers exploded under their own reflected weapons. The battlefield erupted into chaos as their own technology betrayed them. Erin's crew erupted in disbelief. It's working. The network's feeding their fire back. Good, Erin said quietly. Let them see what they created. The Dominion had underestimated human engineering. Earth scientists had spent decades studying Dominion wreckage and stolen technology, turning their own energy weapons into self-defeating loops. The Horizon Protocol was their greatest gamble, and it was working. The Dominion commander's calm mask cracked. Impossible. You cannot manipulate gravitational mirrors at this scale. Erin looked almost sad. You should have left us time to learn. But the victory didn't last long. The Dominion fleet adapted quickly. They shut down plasma fire and switched to kinetic weapons. Massive rods of compressed metal fired at near light speed. The first struck the Valiant's shield, shaking the ship so hard that people were thrown from their stations. We can't reflect physical rounds, shouted the tactical officer. I know, Erin replied. Reroute the horizon field to layer frequency. Make it dense. That'll drain the reactors in minutes, then we'll hold for minutes. Outside, the battle turned brutal. Human ships detonated in waves, sacrificing themselves to protect the grid. The Dominion advanced step by step closer to the planet. Earth's surface glowed under the shadow of their engines. Then a new light appeared. From the far side of the moon, a massive structure began to rise. It looked like a ring made of black steel, slowly spinning, its inner core glowing red-hot. The Dominion ships paused as they scanned it. What is that? The alien commander demanded. Erin answered, her voice quiet but steady. That's the arc line. The ring reached full power and a pulse of gravity surged outward. Every human ship that still had engines began to move toward it, docking in perfect formation. The arc line wasn't a weapon. It was something worse. It was a jump gate, a one-way evacuation path for the human fleet. The Dominion commander laughed. "You flee." "As expected." Erin didn't answer. Her second-in-command looked at her, confused. "Are we abandoning Earth?" She shook her head. "No, we're moving it." Before he could respond, the arc line fired again, this time toward the planet itself. Beams of gravitational energy wrapped around Earth, bending light as if space were folding in on itself. The entire Dominion armada froze in horror. "You can't," the alien commander started. But it was too late. The arc line pulsed one final time, and in an instant the planet vanished. Where Earth had been, only a fading ripple remained. The Dominion's weapons hit nothing but empty space. For the first time in galactic history, an entire world had jumped. Far away, light years across, Earth reappeared, scarred, smoking, but alive. The oceans boiled in some places, storms raged in others, but the planet was whole. Humanity had done the impossible. On board the Valiant, the crew stared in disbelief. "We actually moved the planet," one whispered. Erin sank into her chair, exhausted. "No, we gave it a second chance." The alien commander's voice echoed faintly across the comm, distant and broken. "You can run, human. But the galaxy is vast. We will find you." Erin closed her eyes. "Then we'll make the galaxy smaller." Silence filled the bridge. Outside, Earth floated in a new star system, bathed in unfamiliar light. The sky had changed, but humanity had survived. But survival came with a cost. The arc line's engines had burned out, its core shattered. They couldn't move again. This was their new home, for better or worse. Erin looked at the blue-green planet through the window. "Send a message to all colonies," she said. "Tell them Earth is safe. For now." Deep in the void they'd left behind, the Dominion fleet regrouped. Their sensors traced the gravitational wake left by Earth's escape. The commander watched the fading distortion and clenched his clawed hands. "Track it," he ordered. "However far they've gone, however long it takes, we will follow." He didn't realize that the Horizon Network's fragments still floated around the old orbit. They had absorbed and stored immense amounts of energy from the Dominion's own weapons. When the alien fleet moved closer to investigate, the fragments reactivated. The orbit around the old Earth exploded in a blinding white storm, consuming the Dominion's lead ships in seconds. In the silence that followed, only the echoes of burning metal drifted through space. Somewhere beyond the stars, humanity began rebuilding. They planted crops under strange constellations and rebuilt cities beneath twin moons. The people looked up at the sky, not with fear, but with determination. Earth had been hunted, cornered, nearly erased. But in the end, it had outsmarted the oldest empire in the galaxy. And while the Dominion searched the void, furious and lost, humanity waited in their new home, watching, learning, preparing, because they knew something the rest of the galaxy still didn't. You can't cage a Deathworld. The stars over the new Earth burned red that night. Every telescope, every satellite, every human eye could see the incoming swarm. Thousands of alien ships moving like a shadow through the void. The Dominion was gone, but the galaxy had not forgotten. Now the coalition of 12 worlds had come, their fleets united by fear. They didn't come to talk or reason. They came to end humanity once and for all. From orbit, Captain Jonas Hale stood aboard the command deck of the Resolve, the rebuilt flagship of Earth's fleet. Around him floated the combined might of humanity. 48 warships, dozens of carriers, and hundreds of drones. It wasn't enough. Not against what was coming. The enemy ships filled the tactical map like a sea of fire. Jonas looked at the display and said quietly, "Transmit this message to all ships." The comms officer nodded. "Ready, sir?" Jonas spoke clearly. "This is Captain Hale. You all know what's coming. You've seen the numbers. They think we're cornered. They think we're fragile. They think Deathworlders can't stand against the galaxy. But we are not just defending Earth. We are defending the right to exist. Remember that. Now, prepare to fight." The message went out across the fleet, echoing in the hearts of every pilot, every soldier, every engineer. Outside, the enemy fleet began to decelerate from warp. A wall of light rippled across the black sky as their ships emerged. Hundreds of species, thousands of vessels united under a single command. In the lead ship of the Coalition, a voice echoed through their channels. Humanity defied the Galactic Council. Humanity destroyed the Dominion. Humanity must not be allowed to rise again. Commence total cleansing. Jonas saw their formation tightening. He turned to his second officer. Activate the mist field, the man hesitated. Sir, that system's still experimental. We don't even know if it'll work on this scale. Then we'll find out now, Jonas said. He pressed the command and the Resolve released a pulse through its reactors. From the ship's core, waves of nanosatellites spread like fog through space, each one releasing magnetic dust that bent light and scrambled sensors. Within seconds, the entire human fleet disappeared from the Coalition's radar. The alien commanders shouted over their comms, confused. Where did they go? They can't cloak an entire system. But they could. Humanity had built its advantage on desperate innovation. The mist field didn't make them invisible. It made them unpredictable. The aliens couldn't tell which readings were real and which were illusions. The Coalition opened fire blindly, their weapons tearing through empty space. Beams of light scorched the darkness, but nothing hit. From within the mist, Jonas smiled grimly. Fire pattern ghost. All across the fog, hundreds of false signals came to life, fake ships broadcasting human codes. When the aliens targeted them, the real fleet struck from the shadows. Dozens of Coalition cruisers exploded before they could react. Inside their command ship, Admiral Carr of the Coalition slammed his clawed hand against his console. How are they doing this? Their ships are too small for that level of stealth. His aide trembled. They're using signal mimicry, Admiral. They're turning our sensors against us, Carr hissed. Then burn the system. All of it. The alien fleet began firing planetary-class weapons. The beams carved through space, striking at random. The blasts were strong enough to vaporize cities in a single hit, but every shot only filled the mist with more radiation, feeding the human plan. Jonas's engineer watched the readings climb. Sir, the ion charge is building beyond safe levels. Perfect, Jonas replied. Once it peaks, we'll have the power we need. He looked toward Earth below, glowing softly under its new twin moons. This is our world. Let them come. As the radiation storm built, the human fleet began channeling it through magnetic funnels, redirecting the energy into enormous coils. It was the same principle that had powered the arc line long ago, but now weaponized into something the galaxy had never seen before. When the charge reached critical levels, Jonas gave the order. Release the pulse. A wave of light erupted from the human fleet. Every alien ship caught within the mist froze. Their engines sputtered and their weapons went dead. Their systems couldn't handle the sudden surge of magnetic interference. Jonas clenched his fist. Now hit them while they're blind. Human ships burst from the fog, firing railguns and plasma rounds point-blank into the immobilized fleet. Explosions rippled across the void. Dozens of enemy vessels broke apart, their hulls torn open like paper. But the victory came at a cost. The pulse burned out half of the human reactors. The mist began to thin, and when it cleared, the Coalition still had hundreds of ships left. The alien flagship loomed at the center, a massive, spiked fortress bristling with weapons. It opened fire, and the Resolve shuddered as the blast tore through its shields. Shields at 20%, someone shouted. Jonas gritted his teeth. All ships focus fire on their flagship. We take that down, the rest will scatter. The battle turned into chaos. Human ships darted between enemy lines using agility and unpredictability as their only defense. Entire squadrons sacrificed themselves to take out enemy carriers. The sky burned with fragments of metal and fire. Jonas's ship was hit again. Consoles exploded around him. The bridge filled with smoke and sparks. Captain, reactors overloading.
We have to shut it down.
Jonas looked at the tactical map. The enemy flagship was still there, untouched, charging a weapon that could destroy the planet in one shot. He knew what he had to do. Divert all remaining power to the jump core, he ordered. His officer stared at him. Sir, that will overload the ship. We won't survive the jump, Jonas nodded. I know, but if we don't, Earth won't survive either. He turned to the comms officer. Transmit to the fleet. This is Captain Hale. It's been an honor. The Resolve's engines roared as it accelerated straight toward the Coalition flagship. Enemy ships tried to block it, but the Resolve was faster. It pierced through the wreckage of burning ships, closing the distance in seconds. Inside the Coalition command ship, Admiral Carr watched in disbelief. "He's going to ram us!" Jonas stared at the viewport, his face calm. For Earth. He triggered the jump. The Resolve vanished in a burst of white light, reappearing inside the enemy flagship's reactor core. The energy release was instantaneous. A miniature star was born for one brief, blinding second. The explosion tore through the Coalition fleet, erasing hundreds of ships in an expanding wave of plasma. From Earth's surface, people saw the sky ignite as if a new sun had risen. When the light faded, silence followed. The Coalition fleet was gone. Only drifting wreckage remained. Humanity had won again, but at a terrible cost. The Resolve and its entire crew were gone. Weeks later, the Galactic Council met in emergency session. Every representative spoke in fear. Humanity had survived 3 extermination attempts, destroyed 2 empires, and annihilated a fleet that represented half the galaxy's power. They were no longer seen as primitive. They were a force that could not be controlled. Some wanted to destroy Earth completely. Others argued for peace. But before any decision could be made, the Council's lights flickered and a signal appeared on every screen. It was a simple message from Earth, broadcast across the galaxy. "This is humanity. We do not seek war. But if you bring war to us again, you will find nothing left to conquer. The Deathworld stands ready." The Council chambers fell silent. In that silence, the galaxy changed. For the first time in its long history, the other races began to fear a single small blue planet and the people who refused to die. And somewhere deep in space, among the drifting debris, a faint transmission from the wreck of the Resolve whispered through static. Jonas's final words. "Carried on endless waves of light, we are the children of a death world. We don't survive by luck. We survive by choice." And the galaxy finally understood what that meant.